Good morning, class 6. I'm your English teacher, Rita Seri. Okay, now today I'm going to teach you the story called 3 Days to See by Helen Keller. I hope you can see it. Yeah, 3 Days to See. It's on page 9. Now let me see where's page 9. Yeah, page 9 of a literature book. So I'm doing it like this because I heard that a lot of children have not taken the books home and some of you don't have books, so I'll just teach you like this. Okay, so I'll try to make it as clearly as possible and I'll try to explain some of the paragraphs. It's a very short story and it's the third chapter. So I'll just tell you about a little bit about Helen Keller. Helen Keller was an American writer and an educator. She wrote a lot of books. When she was 1.5 years old, she got very sick. And because of that, she became both blind and deaf. However, later on, she was very lucky to get a teacher named Anne Sullivan, who taught her words by braille, by writing, and mostly by vibration. She could speak later on, but through vibration in her throat. Vibration is, when your throat, inside the throat you have the vocal cords, and if you touch outside of the throat you can get the vibration, the shaking, a little movement outside your throat. Okay, so that's how she learned. Very difficult, but she somehow learned, and she wrote so many books. She's an inspiration to many people. Okay, I'm talking about Helen Keller. Now I'll start the story, and my hand is shivering a bit, but I hope you can see it over there. So I'll read from here. Yeah. Okay, so I'll read here and you follow. I have often thought it would be a blessing if each human being was stricken blind and deaf for a few days at some time during his early adult life. Darkness would make him more appreciative of sight, silence would teach him the joys of sound. Now, what does that mean? Helen Keller is not trying to be mean, over here. She's not trying to act unkind or something like that. She just wish that people, as they grow older, I mean, when you reach adulthood, we should be blind and deaf for some time, because in that way, if we are blind, we will appreciate sight. That means we will be thankful that we can see. And if we become deaf, we would then be thankful for the sounds which we can hear. Like just now, you can hear my voice, yes? And you can see outside, it's very misty today outside. At least you can see all that. Now, if you were blind just for a few days, you wouldn't know what is happening. So that's what she means. You would be very thankful that you can see and very thankful that you can hear. Okay. Now, one day, I'll go to the second paragraph. She walked with a friend through the woods. Now, woods is like a jungle, a forest, and asked her what she saw. She had observed here. Yeah. So what she saw. And what did the friend reply? She said, "Oh, nothing in particular. That means I did not see much." And then Helen Keller asked herself, in the last part here, she asked herself, she cannot see, she cannot hear. Yes? But she found so many things important there. So many hundreds of things to interest her. She could feel the symmetry of a leaf. Now, symmetry means a leaf is very balanced. Yes? If you look at the back like this here, over here, can you see? Yeah, see over here, all these? The stem and the feel. She could feel everything. Okay, so she knew exactly that a silver birch, here, silver birch is the name of a tree and the leaf is very soft. So she knew it was a silver birch. Okay, because the skin of the silver birch, the leaf is very smooth. Okay, so she knew. But she also knew when a leaf was very rough, like this one here. Can you see over here? Rough, shaggy bark of a pine. Okay, a pine tree is a very I think in Nepali you call it dupi. You must have seen, while going to Kitam and all those trees. Okay, it's very rough. It'll prick your fingers, when you feel it. So she knew all the feelings of leaves by just feeling, touching the leaves. Okay, and she also knew when a bud would come out. See here, a bud. Okay, before it becomes a flower, or it's a bud. Okay, so the when there's a bud, it shows that spring is near. Okay, and all nature awakens here. Okay, after winter. So uh, sometimes Helen Keller would feel very lucky. Now, fortunately means lucky. Okay, so she would place her hand on a small tree and feel the happy quiver of a bird in full swing. Now, what does that mean? Imagine, she would touch a small tree, and if a bird was singing on that tree, she could feel the bird singing. We can hear the bird twittering and singing, but she could feel the bird singing, and she'd feel very lucky to that. And sometimes her heart would be full of longing to see with her own eyes, because if little things, like touching leaves and the leaves shaking and all was so beautiful that she wondered how in real life, I mean, in if she could see how nice it would be, how beautiful it would be if she could use her eyes just for 3 days, okay? And now, here, this is very important. The 3 days of the title of the story. If she could just see for 3 days, what would she do? What would she do the first 3 days? Okay. Now, on the first day, she would want to see people, the people who made her life so easy. If you are deaf and you are blind, you can easily go into depression very fast. But here, her friends and her teacher, mainly Anne Sullivan, they were so good to her that she was so happy, and she realized that life was worth living. Here it is. Can you see? Yeah. She wanted to see the eyes of the people she loved. Okay, now the eyes are known as the window of the soul, but she could only see through her fingertips. Fingertips meaning she knew who her friends were by just touching the face. Okay, then when she touched the friend's face, she could make out whether they were happy or whether they were sad. Sorrow means sad, and many other emotions. Okay, so she knew the emotions just by feeling her friends' faces. Okay, so for instance, she as an once she took an experiment of a friend. She questioned the husbands, what color were the wife's eyes, and they were so embarrassed means very feeling very awkward. Why? Because they did not know their own wife's eyes. You see them every day and you take things for granted. Yes, so they did not know the color of their wife's eyes. Okay. Then she would like to read books, and then she would also like to go for long walks and become very happy, okay, to see the beauty of nature. And one thing she would like very much to do is to see the colorful sunset. We have seen many sunsets in our lives, but do you realize how colorful it is? How beautiful it is? Then after that, she would go to sleep. Now that is what she would do on a first day. See her friends' faces, read books, go for walks, see the beauty of nature, and last, she would like to see the sunset. Now, what would she like to do on the second day? Well, she would like to go and see how man progressed. She would like to go to museums and see the artwork there. Okay, she would like to touch the things what she read about. And then in the evening, she would like to go at a theater or at the movies. She had been to theaters before, but her friends would write on her hand and tell her what was happening by writing on her hands. But here, theater or at the movies, she could see with her very own eyes. And the last day, what would she like to do? She would like to get up early in the morning and see the dawn. Now, what is dawn? Dawn is just before sunrise. You know, the beautiful day just before sunrise. Maybe it is around about, here in Namchi, it's about 4:30 in the morning, or maybe 5 o'clock in the morning during the winter time. And then she would like to see new delights, new beauty. And one thing she would very much like to do is to see how the people work in everyday world. You know, we go to office and we come back. She would like to see all that. And haunts here means the common places which men visit, like offices, schools, maybe tourist sites or whatever. Okay, what she wanted to see all that. And at midnight, what would happen again? It was a third day, remember? So at midnight means late at night at 12 o'clock, once again she would be blind. And only when darkness had again come upon her, she would realize how much she wanted to see more and more. Just 3 days is not enough. After 3 days of blindness, Helen Keller is sure that you would use your eyes like never before. You would see beauty in everything. See, all human beings have five senses. Okay? Now, the sense of sight, where you can see everything, sense of hearing, sense of touch, sense of smell, and sense of taste. Now, if you just lose one sense, it would be very sad. Like suppose you lose your sense of hearing, you will not be able to hear anything, isn't it? So she is saying actually basically that in the story that make use of all five senses which you have. So Helen Keller says, see the beauty of the world, hear the voices, the sounds of birds, the music, hear it. And as we go to the next, see of there, strains of orchestra. Strains of orchestra means the notes of music. You know, you've heard of orchestra where people will play violin and guitar and drums and flute and all that. Okay, so those are, each music instrument has a different note. So she's saying, hear carefully all that. In case you get deaf tomorrow. And she also saying to touch each thing as your sense of, as if your sense of touch would fail. Now, can you see tactile sense? That means the sense of touch. Okay? And she's also telling you to smell the perfume of flowers. Not only flowers, you can smell so many things. So she's saying make the most of your sense of smell. And also, eat your food, eat each bite of food happily. See over here, morsel. Relish means to enjoy, and morsel mean bits of food. That means enjoy each and every bit of food, as if tomorrow you can never smell or taste again. Make the most of every sense. Make use of all your senses. But of course, according to Helen Keller, the sense of sight is the best in the world. That you can see with your eyes is a blessing by itself. So why I'm putting my camera on these pages is that because some of you don't have books, and I think this is the best way I can, although it's shaking a bit, this is the best way I can send it to you and explain to you each and every line. So if you have any problem, you can tell me later on. Now I'm going to send you some questions and answers. Now this page, can you see the reading? That is very easy. So you can do it yourself. And the question and answer right down below, I will send it to you. Okay? I'll type it out and send it to you. So what you do now is read the story again. Once again, right from the beginning to end. And if possible, just listen to my voice. Read your books and just listen to my voice, okay? And the question and the answer is just not for writing or to decorate your books. It's for you to learn too, because if you do have test, as soon as the school opens or maybe online, I'm going to ask you this question and answers, all right? Or who knows, I may call you up and ask you anytime. I'll give you the time. I may ask you. So you be ready. Not only write it down, but also to learn by heart. Okay, children, you take care. Be good. Be safe. Listen to your parents. Do your homework well.